Hello, this news update comes to you from the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library here in Atlanta, Georgia. I thought this would be an apropos place to do a news update simply because President Carter is probably one of the only presidents that we could say that is not pro-Israel, especially since his presidency. He has consistently sided with terrorists like Hamas and North Korea and Syria, and I thought this would be a good place to give a news update about how things are going on between the U.S.-Israel relationship. The first story that we have is a very concerning one. It is about Iran, and as always, I suggest that you look at the cheat sheet. The stories that we talk about in the video generally do come from the cheat sheet, and I think it would be good for you to review it. The first story we're going to see is a scary story out of Iran. Iran right now is conducting naval exercises in what's called the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is a waterway right outside of Iran. It's actually in international waters, so they're conducting military exercises in international waters. And the Strait of Hormuz is so valuable to the world because at its shortest distance, it's 4 miles from one end to the other, and 40% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is conducting military exercises that in the event that they are attacked, they have threatened to shut off the Strait of Hormuz with their naval vessels. If they do that, 40% of the world's oil will not be able to get through, not only Iranian oil, but all other oil. 40% of the world's oil would not be able to go through. That would raise gas prices incredibly and put pressure on whichever country is fighting with Iran to stop. They are conducting military exercises not as practice, but more as a threat to the world of look what will happen if you go ahead and do attack. But Iran isn't only dangerous because of its nuclear ambitions and its nuclear aspirations, which the world is trying to stop. 3 stories this week highlight exactly why Iran is so dangerous. The first comes out of a story, pretty cool story, out of the Sudan. The Sudan is a region south of Kenya and Ethiopia in Africa. It's a main thoroughfare of pirates and criminals, and Israeli jets this week supposedly bombed 2 caravans carrying weapons from the Sudan all the way through Egypt into Gaza. Before it got to Egypt, before it crossed the Egyptian border, these caravans were bombed. The supposedly Israeli planes did it, and the weapons supposedly were coming from Iran. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terror, and once that caravan was blown up, weapons did not get in. Iranian weapons did not get into Hamas. That's one danger Iran poses. A second one is that officials this week in the United States announced that Iran is harboring an al-Qaeda fugitive, somebody that helps finance al-Qaeda. Iran, of course, denied it, but it doesn't seem strange that they would be helping al-Qaeda fight America. Lastly, word of a woman who had an affair and is set to be executed by Iran for doing this, one of the only countries that executes for having an affair. And Iran is showing its humane side. They're not going to stone her, and stoning in Iran means sticking her into a ditch and burying her to her neck in sand and having anybody that wants come throw stones at her head. They might just hang her as a sign of the fact of how humane they are. That's our first story. Our first couple stories is just how bad Iran is. Our second story comes out of the Palestinian Authority, where the Palestinians are showing more and more that they're not interested in peace. How do we do that? How are they doing that this week? They are trying to sign up with Hamas in a unity deal. Hamas, of course, is a recognized terrorist organization by the United States and the world over. By signing a unity deal with Hamas and showing that they want to be in the government with Hamas and allow Hamas in, showing that they're more interested in terror than they are in peace, and that they're choosing their friends. Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, immediately announced that if they do sign a unity deal and allow Hamas to be one and joint in the government with the Palestinian Authority, he will refuse to negotiate with them, as Israel will not negotiate with terrorists who are not interested in peace. And that will be the end of peace negotiations, essentially, since the Israelis are the only ones that are interested in peace right now with the Palestinians. The Palestinians, in retaliation and showing in which direction that they're going in, announced that they might rescind their recognition of Israel. Now, this is so dangerous because the entire peace process started back with the Oslo Accords in 1993 are contingent upon the Palestinians recognizing the Israelis' right to exist in their own state. If the Palestinians rescind that recognition, then what you're looking at is a serious situation where the Palestinians might not recognize the state of Israel. Lastly, Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman of Israel, seeing the situation, said he doesn't think that in the next 10 years there's a possibility of peace with the Israelis. All these are dangerous signs. Our last story comes out of Israel's relationship with Turkey. Israel and Turkey used to be close allies. They used to have joint military exercises. What we're seeing now is that the Israelis, in a show of really just how bad relations have gone between Turkey and Israel, the situation started to get worse in Operation Cast Lead when the Prime Minister of Turkey announced that the Israelis have an operation to kill Palestinian babies in Gaza, a horrible, horrible, horrific, untrue charge, and it confounded that with supporting the flotilla to try to block the Gaza brigade. They are still demanding an apology from Israel. The Israelis said that they're considering having a day of recognition of the Armenian genocide. The Armenian genocide, just to give a little background and context here to this story, is that the Turkish killed 1 million Armenians in what was a Holocaust against the Armenian people. The Turkish deny that this ever occurred in the way that it would be considered a genocide. And any country that recognizes an Armenian genocide essentially is breaking relations with Turkey. France did it this week, and Turkey recalled its ambassador to France for doing so. Today in the Knesset, they're considering a motion to have a day of commemoration for the Armenian genocide. To do so would be a spit in Turkey's face and a real sign of just how bad things are between Israel and Turkey. This, of course, comes on the shoulders of Israel breaking off a defense contract with Turkey this week because of their relations getting worse, and Israel's fear of where any technology that they hand over to Turkey might end up, i.e. in the hands of Assyria or Hamas or Iran. Okay, we'll end with this update here, back at the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library. All the best.